Okay, now you ready for him? I'm gonna start recording me because you don't want a whole bunch of music. So after you give him this countdown, like while you giving him this countdown, right before you give him this countdown, you record so you have a little music in front of him. You want to ask him, is he ready?
Yeah.
He ready. You want to give him this countdown, be loud with it, let him know you ready.
10.
Ready? We'll just start from 5. Give him the hands.
Yeah.
No, just let that play. I'm going to hit record. Hand in the hands, you can see. You count down like 5, 4.
5.
Turn his mic on. Wait a minute. His mic is number 9. 10. What you get him on? What you give him his countdown? Right before 2. Turn him back. Put your finger on it. 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right. Welcome to another edition of Headlines and Headaches. I am Larry H. Gardner, and the H stands for He's Back on voiceradio.com. Call-in number is 216-772-0500. And you were listening to the sounds of Childish Gambino from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got some things that I need to do. That's why I'm dressed like this. First of all, I got to give a couple of shout-outs. First of all, I got to give a rest in peace to Joseph E. Marks. He lost his mom back in June. Also, rest in peace to my friend Jonathan Burrell, his father. He lost his father back in June. Sending my condolences. Also, Baltimore Ravens former defensive lineman Tony Saragusa died at the age of 52. So just giving a shout out, sending a shout out to Saragusa's family. The Big Goose was probable for the Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl run back in 2000 when they moved from Cleveland. Speaking of moving from Cleveland, as you all well know, Baker Mayfield is no longer with the Cleveland Browns. He is with the Carolina Panthers. There was also a active shooter scare in Vegas and in Memphis. At Vegas, it was a couple of places, and in Memphis was at a community college, I think Stoneheller. And speaking of, and also in Georgia, there was something. The Stone in Georgia got blown up. Suspect still at large. We're going to talk about a couple of things, but the main event is we already know about the overturning of Roe versus Wade. That is the abortion law that was overturned by the Supreme Court 6-3. That was before Ketanji Brown Jackson was sworn in. I think that President Joe Biden, who was giving out the Medal of Freedom today, shout out to Freddie Gray for getting the Medal of Freedom. EP, the show host, stepdad, who got the Medal of Freedom along with Simone Biles, along with a couple other people. I think Denzel Washington did not show up to the White House for the Medal of Freedom ceremony today. But President Joe Biden was also here in Cleveland, Ohio at Max Hayes school, speaking about the unions and how we should vote. So the reason why we said that we should vote is because the Supreme Court is always appointed by the sitting president. And three of Trump's appointees, Kozlov, the lady that was never a judge, and Brett Kavanaugh, with all the sexual charges against him, were appointed by Trump, and they voted for, along with Uncle Clarence Thomas, voted for the overturn of Roe versus Wade. Here's the thing I'm going to say about that. How dare you violate women's rights to have an abortion? How dare you violate women's rights to do what they need to do? How dare you, Supreme Court, do the wrong thing against women's rights? 216-772-0500 is the number you want to call in at. I'm tired of women's rights being violated. Shout out to New Voice for Reproductive Justice, the other company that I work for, that is fighting for women's rights and trying to get everything back to where it is. Now, pretty much Roe versus Wade, the overturning the abortion rights, that means that it goes back to the states. Now, here's what happened. Governor Mike DeWine, Republican, signed the heartbeat bill. That means that, you can't have an abortion after 6 weeks. People don't know if they're having a baby unless there's like after a month or 2 months. period. So, and also they're coming after gay marriage, interracial marriage, contraceptives. That means the day after pill, you might not have it no more if the Supreme Court has its way, and other things. And the thing about it is, what are they going to come after next? Brown versus the Board of Education, affirmative action, Plessy versus Ferguson. Look at all those Supreme Court rulings that were protecting the rights of people, protecting the rights of African American people, minorities, women, period, point blank. Now, everybody talks about the population theory that they want more white people to have more white babies. I don't buy that. I think that it was just, they told you a long time ago, the Supreme Court, that they were coming after this, and they did. So it brings it back to the states, which brings up a very valid point. There was a 10-year-old girl who was molested by a family member, pretty much raped, and was going to have a baby here in Ohio. Now, according to the heartbeat bill, it was 2 days after the 6 weeks. She didn't know about it. First of all, she's 10. And whoever the sicko did that should be locked up behind bars. Second of all, she would have to carry that baby full term because of this overturn, because of that. And she would have to go all the way to Indiana to have the abortion, because there's no way in the world she would be developed enough to carry that baby full term. She would die. And women who have abnormalities would die in childbirth if this didn't happen. So I'm just tired of it. Hey, Imani Capri, how are you doing? First of all, and speaking of women, shout out to Kathy Ray Coleman for the Women's March on Cuyahoga County, the Cuyahoga County building where they had the Cuyahoga County meetings every single Tuesday. That was this past Tuesday. Shout out to everybody that came back, and those that showed up and showed out to speak about it. Kathy Ray leading the charge, and a shout out to her and everybody else for showing up, things of that nature. And the thing about it is that this had to go. So, 216-772-0500, Imani. And I know as a woman, you feel a certain type of way, but as men, we need to stand up for our women. We need to stand up for our women because of the simple fact of the matter is, nobody else will. And Ohio is a red state, not a swing state, but it's a red state, period. So the problem that we have, this is the problem that I have. The problem that I have is, to come on your show? Of course, I will, Imani. Shout out to you and for what you do. So we have to talk about these particular issues. And the problem that I have with some of these people who do things like this, this is the problem that I have. The problem that I have with some of these people is that they have no right to decide what's best for women, period. They have no right to decide what's best for women, the health, because, okay, so you're trying to protect the rights of the unborn. What about the born? What about the born already here? We saw that the born, especially African-American people, get shot up and murdered by the police. And I'm alluding to Jalen Walker, who was shot and killed by Akron police. The boy they shot at him 90 times, 90 bullets at him, 60 bullets hit him, and he was dead. And they still, even though while he was dead, they still put him in handcuffs while he was dead. What is wrong? We're going to get to that in a minute. I'm going to talk about that. But let's get back to the Roe versus Wade issue and another issue that has come up as far as a women's rights being violated. And a lot of people may disagree with me on this, but I'm going to say this. There is no reason that women should not get the health care that they need. What if the woman was raped? What if a woman was raped? Okay, let's give a perfect example. Female officer, a woman officer, undercover, trying to bust a prostitution or a human trafficking ring, right? The leader finds out, or the leader of the human trafficking ring or somebody in there uses her and rapes her. She gets pregnant by the rape. She has no right to get an abortion. Okay, what about a woman who was molested? 10, we had an example. They had to go to another state to get the abortion. And some companies like Dick's Sporting Goods and other companies have said that if a woman wants to get an abortion and goes to another state, they will finance and help her do that. Now, I'm holding some of these corporations to do that. And I'm also holding prosecutor Michael O'Malley. Cuyahoga County prosecutor Michael O'Malley says that he's not going to prosecute any woman that needs an abortion. We don't want to go back to the hangers and alcohol. We just don't want to do that. We don't want to do that because of the simple fact of the matter is that it's disturbing that, it's my body, my choice. And I feel y'all. My body, my choice. And that was the chant led by Kathy Ray Coben and other women downtown. And shout out to the other women that spoke as well. Shout out to the people that were trying to register the people to vote. Get registered, re-register. Hell, update your registration. How about I update my registration every single year ever since I've been on Griffin Avenue? And let me explain something. Even though I update my registration and I vote in dang near every single election, by the time speaking of elections, we have one coming up on August 3rd, the first Tuesday in August. Oh, by the way, shout out to Joe Jones and the Harvard Community Services Center, and shout out to everybody else, Andre White. There's Hub's Groove. I just left the Harvard Community Service Center to do this show down here. There is I was about to say, there is a initiative to bring back Lead Safe, and also Hub's Groove is performing until 9:00, so shout out to him. Hub's Groove, a great band, and things of that nature. So shout out to that. So let me get back to what I was talking about. Okay, a woman gets raped, gets pregnant. A female officer undercover gets raped, gets pregnant. She has no right to get an abortion? That's crazy. And also update your voter registration because it's important. Then you got other like Voice Your Vote, Ohio Democrats, updating registration out there in the trenches, pretty much pure point blank, working their damnedest to get people to register to vote, and also update your registration. And I also think, just like any other judge, the Supreme Court should not be appointed by the sitting president. They should be elected. They should run like every other judge, like Judge Michael Ryan, Judge Wanda Jones, who I'll probably have on the show later on, and other people that the Supreme Court justices should run just like any other judge should run. They should not be appointed by the sitting president. I mean, you didn't have Obama, Obama's appointments weren't put in there. Shout out to, due to Mitch McConnell, the idiot that's in charge of the Republican minority in Congress. Just saying. I got to give I'm giving a shout out to President Joseph Biden with the Medal of Honor. He was here yesterday at Max Hayes High School and things of that nature. So speaking of women and women's rights are being violated, not only here, but all over the country, all over the world. Brittney Griner, the Phoenix Mercury center. Now, she was caught with a little bit of weed. Little bit of weed. And now she had to plead guilty to that. Now she's facing up to 10 years in a Russian prison for a little bit of weed, a minor misdemeanor, a little bit of weed. Not a whole lot. She was not carrying kilos of weed. She went over there, and the thing about it is she went over there to play basketball during the off season of the WNBA. WNBA saying that they're going to dedicate their season to her. But the thing about it is like everybody's saying, well, Brittney Griner, she shouldn't have been caught with it. She had to plead guilty, blah, blah, blah. She's facing up to 10 years. But there's other notorious terrorists that are getting less time than she is. And let me explain the reason why I'm upset about this. Okay, I understand she's a black woman, she's a lesbian, things of that nature. But the thing about it is Russia is still at war with Ukraine. And the United States is on Ukraine's side. So they're using her as a pawn. Look at the bigger picture before y'all try to slam her and punish her, period, point blank. It's messed up. Just like everybody said that this Deshaun Watson's thing is messed up, the current Cleveland Browns quarterback. This with Brittney Griner is messed up. Free Brittney. Let her go. Before she had to spend like 3 to 4 months detained in a Russian prison before she pled guilty. She wrote to President Joe Biden and she wanted to, and she needs to come home. Let Brittney come home. I mean, we give diplomatic immunity to everybody else. Why is she not free? And everybody said if it was LeBron James. No, I think it was LeBron James. The same thing would have probably happened to him. But first of all, the WNBA needs to be marketed more so these women can get paid. So they don't have to go overseas unless they want to. That's the first thing. We should support more women's sports. I mean, Kobe Bryant did before he died. You know, let's be honest. And second of all, as much as I like, well, she was wrong, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. The Facebook debate team can argue all day. Everybody that got their Facebook, degree in debating. Let's take a look at what's going on right now. See, the thing about it is with Brittney Griner, if she was a white man, they would have let him free already. We didn't have this problem. Disagree or agree. Like if you want to disagree, 216-772-0500 is the number to call in on. The problem that I have with this whole thing, just like every American woman, no matter what color or sexuality you are, their rights have been violated. The United States Supreme Court, the SCOTUS, pretty much has destroyed the trust in women. The government, the thing about it is like the SCOTUS pretty much put it back on the states. And you know what the states are going to do, especially the red states are going to do? They're going to implement their whole thing. And the thing about it is like I'm holding Prosecutor Mike O'Malley of Cuyahoga County to this, that you don't prosecute a woman that needs an abortion. Now, I'm not saying birth control, needed contraceptives, condoms, things of that nature. If you don't want to have children, and I know that, it's a woman's choice, if she knows what she's doing. But the thing about it is that right now, it's not fair. So free Brittney Griner, turn over the decision with Roe versus Wade, and respect the women's right to choose. This is Scarface with Faith Evans. Someday we'll be all free, but right now I don't feel like it. We'll be right back on Headlines Headaches on voiceofradio.com. Thank you, Anna.